Last year, my wife and I went on a missions trip. Now, a lot of trips like this involve building an orphanage, feeding the homeless in a third world country, and that's awesome. But this trip was different. Not only was I headed to a very wealthy country, Japan, but the whole point of the trip was simply to invite people to church. Apparently, American culture is very popular in Japan, so it's really easy for a group of Americans to strike up conversation and invite them to church. And they'll actually come. I thought, this trip is perfect for me. I love talking to people, and the whole thing is based on the idea of being an American, which is easy, because I'm an American. So we went. Obviously, I expected cultural differences. What I didn't expect was how difficult it would be to communicate. At one point, my friend went up to this random lady on the street, and he thought he was asking her, "Can I pet your dog?" in Japanese. Turned out, he was actually asking, "Can I pet you?" Little awkward. As if the language barrier isn't challenging enough. Then my leader hands me a sign that says, "Let's talk." And for our first outreach, I'm supposed to stand in the middle of downtown Tokyo and strike up conversation with random people on the street. I'm thinking, I'm about to be the crazy guy that I always ignore. I mean, I'm extroverted, but this is uncomfortable. And I tried, believe me, I tried. Nobody would talk to me, as evidenced by this picture. Clearly, this lady has no interest in talking to an American. What's worse is I look over at one of my friends and he's killing it. He's tall, good-looking, crowds of people are flocking to him like he's stinking Brad Pitt. Meanwhile, I'm over here, can't get a conversation started to save my life. This went on for days, and by the third night, I am so frustrated. I'm laying in bed talking to God like, "God, I'm done. I thought I was gonna be amazing at this, but clearly I'm not as good as my friends are. So what am I even doing here?" And as I'm laying there, I have this realization. What if this isn't about me being amazing at anything? What if it's just about me being available? The next day, we go to this university, and the student walks up to me and says, "Are you one of the Americans I've heard about?" His name was Now, and he had so many questions about our country. He asked about rock and roll music and hamburger restaurants, which made me think his idea of America might be a Happy Days episode.
Hey.
But we talked for hours. We had so much in common. We talked about the Beatles and Harry Potter and Disney World, and I remember thinking, shouldn't I be talking about God right now? But we were building a relationship. At one point, he told me how he'd been in Tokyo for a few months and hadn't really made any friends. And I said, "Man, there is a church here full of people your age who would love to be your friend. Would you go with me?" It wasn't forced, it wasn't fake, it was just one friend trying to help another friend. Now came to church with me, and at the end of it I asked, "What'd you think?" He said, "I don't believe in God, but I like this place. Can I keep coming?" You know, it's crazy, but we're over 6,000 miles away from each other. We still talk all the time. And I've realized that I was the perfect person to connect with Now. I was who he needed to invite him to church. And so here's what I've learned. If I make myself available, God will put me in the perfect place at the perfect time to connect with just the right person. I don't have to be like my friends. I don't have to be amazing. All I have to be is available.